Okay, welcome to this lesson on creating tables in Microsoft Word. And we are going to be using Word Online as we have been previously. And a table is basically a collection of rows and columns that intersect each other to form what are called cells. And all of these cells can be used to precisely place text or graphics. It can also be used to help you to organize and sort data. Although you don't necessarily have to have a table but it's definitely beneficial for the precise placement of text and graphics. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and this lesson is a little bit different in what we have done previously, in that the first activity we're going to do is going to start you off with a blank document. So if you have opened up your OneDrive account already, if not, if you'll pause the video and open up you can open up your OneDrive account, but then right here where it says new on mine, I want to click that, and we're going to go select Word document. And as you can see, it's opening up a new Word document here on my screen. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, first of all, we're going to learn how just to create a basic table. And remember, as I teach this lesson, my disclaimer is I am teaching this from the certification text, which we cannot do certification assuming that all you have is a Chromebook, and that's what I'm having to assume right now. So some of these lessons or some of these things that we're supposed to complete, we're not going to be able to complete, so I may have to modify this a little bit on the fly as I teach the lesson. So the first thing we're going to do is to create a table by dragging. So what you have to do is, once you got your new blank document open here, you want to insert a table into this document. So if you think about the word insert, that means you want to put something into the document. So if you look under the Insert tab, then this second button that you see here is for table. Now, this first method that we're going to learn is to drag. And if you look up here, you've got all of these boxes that open up, these little squares. And basically what this means is you can have a table that has dimensions up to 10 columns and 8 rows. And you see how this moves up here in the upper left hand corner. So if I tell you to create an 8x2 table, that means 8 columns and 2 rows. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we want to create a 5x2 table. So if you drag through this box right here and then click, it's going to create a 5x2 table for you. And when you do that, because my insertion point at that time is inside the table, up here you're going to see a Table Tools tab that's going to open up here. And again, you're only going to see this up here. You see what I'm circling? You're only going to see it when your insertion point is either inside the table or you have selected that table. If I were to click somewhere outside of this table, as I just did, notice that those two tabs go away. Okay, so we're going to go back and just click in here, and again, we're going to get this back open. And these two tabs, if you click on them, first you've got Table Design, which pertains to the physical appearance of the table. So again, all of these have to do with the physical appearance of the table. And then over here you've got a Table Layout button, which has to do with the text and how the text is aligned inside the table. All right, so the next thing we want to do is to just go ahead and click below the table here, and then just to hit the Enter key twice to insert 2 blank lines. And again, I want to come back up here, and under my Home tab, under the paragraph group, remember these are called groups, I want to turn on my non-printing characters by clicking the Show and Hide button. And that will help us as we go through this lesson. And they actually want us to save this document, and they want us to save it with the file name Tables. So for the online version of Microsoft Word, you can come up here in this button right here in this field and click it, and then you can save the name as tables. Now, because this is a blank document, I still want to change the location of mine so I know where it's at. This is not the folder I want my file to be in. Remember, you've got that folder that I created for you called My Files or My Work. I'll get there. And that's where I'm going to save this to, because again, I don't want to change any of the files that's in that folder that I had you to that I put in this folder for you originally. So here's mine. It's called My Work. I just want it to be here in this folder. And now you see that after a couple of seconds that file is now here in this folder. And that's still not exactly where I wanted it. And that's okay, because I didn't mess with my original file any. So again, I can look up here and see my file path. This lets me know that this is where this is saved to. And again, this is not where I want to save this to. So I want to change this real quick by clicking this button right here. And I want to move it to... And by the way, I want you to understand, I don't mind you see me, when something happens that either it's a mistake that I've made or if it's something that doesn't go quite the way that I thought it was going to go. I don't mind having that happen, because I want you to see how to correct errors or when things happen that you don't expect. So I'm going to click this Move Here button now, and it's going to move this file. And it's going to put it into the file, the location where I want, which is should show up here in just a second. And if it doesn't, I may have to refresh my screen, because this is the file, this is the folder that I put it in. So I want to refresh this screen, and there's the file. And again, because we're dealing with saving everything online, sometimes these tasks take a little bit more time. So if I click on this file now, it's going to open right back up, and you're going to see the table and the few paragraph marks that I put in here. And actually, it's not showing me, and this is one of the little things that you'd have to deal with. Because I saved it into a different location, I've got to go back and click this button again to turn that to redisplay the non-printing characters. All right, so the next thing we're going to learn how to do is how to insert a table using a dialog box. Now, I showed you previously that you can create up a table that is up to 10 columns and 8 rows, but what if you want to create a table that is bigger than 10 columns or bigger than 8 rows? Well, if that's the case, you would have to come down here to where it says Insert Table, and it's going to open up this dialog box. And let's say that you wanted to have one that's got 9 columns and 3 rows. So you can click this spinner button, or you could just type the numbers in, 9 columns and 3 rows, and then click OK. And there's your table. And that is how you would do a table that is bigger than 10 columns or 8 rows. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is click down here and just hit enter once or twice. And then what we want to do now is to move down. And before I say what we're going to do, let me see if this is something we can do with the online version. I don't think we can. No, we cannot. So this next part of the lesson that I was going to show you, we're actually going to skip. Now, what I was going to show you is how to draw a table manually using your mouse to literally draw the outside or the main table. Essentially, you would be drawing one big cell, and then you would be putting lines inside the table just like you were drawing it on paper. And so we can't do that, so we're going to skip that. But in the online or the actual desktop version of this, you could do that. Okay, and as I look at this, it looks like that's all we can learn for this part of the lesson. So what we want to do is we want to move on to the next activity, which is formatting a table.